best son, nephew, young man, let me holler at you. So I got a group chat message today with an Instagram video, which I'm posting the link. I'm going to post the link in the comments section and in the description. Some kids are fighting at a school. I didn't take the time out to look to see what city and state the school was in yet. And lo and behold, a female assistant principal goes in to break up this fight. And I guess she was by herself, but the kids decided to beat the assistant principal up. And I mean, there's like a crowd of 40 kids. There were two fighting initially, or so it appeared. There's so many bodies. The only one that was clear was her pink sweater. You can see her because she had a pink sweater on. And when they're done with her, she's on the ground motionless. They beat this lady to a pulp so bad to where she was seizing and she had to go to the hospital for her injuries. And I'm here to tell you that's becoming more and more common. And what people are not realizing is the longer this happens, it's going to change the face of what education looks like. What do you mean, sir? Glad you asked. So, it used to be where most of your teachers were females and just your coaches were males, right? Okay. Keep on raising these kids that are beating up teachers, fighting teachers, threatening teachers, shooting teachers. You're not going to have little old ladies who want to work in these schools anymore. You see, even as a solid man, or whatever type of man you think I am, I'll let you be the judge of that. Whatever type of man you think I am, don't think that they don't have students that I've encountered that wouldn't do me like that if they could. I've even had some try. I'm not going to talk about how it ended up on here. There's a bigger platform I may share some of those stories on if the YouTuber lets me on there. But I'll just say this: I've had some children and some parents. That's what they had in mind for me. But you see, they can't do me like that. And sometimes they test the water to see if they can pull stuff like that. You got some kids who are pretty good at gauging whether or not an instructor or an administrator is afraid of them. And Renaissance man ain't scared of them, they dad, or anybody else. Now I don't egg people on, but you're not finna stop me out, man. You ain't finna do that. You ain't finna beat me up. You know, no, it's not gonna happen. You're gonna get to the point where I'm the norm. Jokers who bench pressing 300-something pounds are the norm. Jokers who know a little something about boxing and mixed martial arts are the norm. And they got some dogs out there. They got some male dog teachers out there way worse than me. I'm a pretty nice guy. You got some guys out there that'll break your kid in half if they talk about putting their hands on them. That's going to become the norm because nobody else is going to want to do it. You're going to have like ex-police officers and ex-military or people who meet the physical requirements to do it. And they're going to have to start taking away some of the academic requirements to get more men like that. All this stuff about women can do the same thing men can do. You tell that to that lady that got stomped out. I'll give you one story just to go with that. I done quelled a couple of riots before, and I'll be honest with you, to get it done, it wasn't pretty. But if I didn't, somebody was gonna get hurt. One of them riots, the kid who was about to get jumped on had a gun, and I knew it. Nobody else did. And the school resource officers in that case knew it too, and they ran. Renaissance Man was the only one with the nuts to go and quell that riot, because them 6 kids that were going to jump on this boy, they didn't know that one of them, at least one of them, was going to meet their maker. And see, the problem was they had a crowd coming to watch. So this is an old school with a narrow hallway. And once the kids saw that I was asking them, please go back, and they wouldn't, I took one by his book sack and pinned him against the wall with my forearm. I took another one, darn near clotheslined him. Took about 5 or 6 of them in the crowd, pushed them all back with my arms spread out, and cussed to high heaven that what they need to do and where they need to go and so forth and so on. And 2 of them that were trying to jump on the kid got after him. But I think they found out what he had waiting for him, and that they didn't have a whole 6-man crew to jump him like they thought they had. And I think they got on out of town. Your average man just can't pull that off. You gotta, now, hey, now. I done met some tough gals too now. They got some gals out there who get your mind right too. I ain't gonna say no names, but now, don't get me wrong. I'm not misogynist, but most women can't deal with that. Shucks, most men can't do with that. So, like I saw another video, and I'm gonna have to start just making commentary on these videos, because there's so many of these instances happening. But there was a big old fella in California, and he was a substitute, and some kid must have, I'm not gonna assume what he must have did or said, but I'm pretty sure. But man, whatever this kid problem was, that big joker took that kid and just started escorting him around the classroom like I wish you would. He drug him through some desks and drug him through a printer, and his books and copy paper flying everywhere. And then he politely placed him outside the classroom. They fired the guy. But see, you fire men like that, who's going to replace him? Where you going to find men with that kind of strength and that kind of balls when these kids got guns and their parents got guns for you outside the school? Who are you going to replace him with? A joker with a degree? Now, I'm a bit of an anomaly. I have 3 degrees. And they got a few more guys like me. I ain't the only one. But shucks, most of your guys like that are going to be ex-football players who got that kinesiology degree, and their lifelong dream is to be a coach. But if you firing the men who defend themselves, what are you saying to the rest of the teachers? You telling them that, hey, you defend yourself, you might get fired. You're telling your potential employees, you come work here, you might get beat up. And when I say here, I'm talking about that district, not the one I work in. I'm not going to speak on the one I work in. There's policy against that, so we're not going to speak on that. But I've been in other school districts where I've been through who knows what. If you look on my Facebook page, go down a few weeks ago, I actually posted every example of a violent incident that I can remember. There's probably plenty more over the course of that 10 years before I got to the district that I'm in now that I forgot about, but those were the instances that I can remember. When you do that, superintendents out there and district personnel out there, you're telling the kids, we can beat teachers up, or we can put teachers in a position where we can try to sue, or try to act like the teacher abused us, because that's what usually happens when these kids go and put their hands on the wrong adult and they end up laid out on the ground. Here they come with their parents and some ambulance chasing attorney. But they also Hey, you can say what you want. I can't say F the police because I've had good experiences with many officers. I've had a couple of not so nice encounters. But for the most part, especially the sheriff where I work at, where I live at, I know I got a homeboy the sheriff and them should have killed. I'm surprised they didn't because of the way he was acting. And they showed great restraint that day. Now, it was one of them. He looked like he was getting trigger happy, but the other two were like, nah, you go ahead, we got this. And they sent him on his way. But here's the thing. You do have places where the sheriff and the police is going to be like, oh, you put your hand on the teacher? Oh, okay, well, we'll do the paperwork and we'll process this situation. And here's another thing with these officers. Sometimes you got kids thinking they can put their hands on the officers. But then once the officers beat the brakes off of them, because that's what they're going to do. You can't assault no officer and not expect the ass kicking. Pardon my French, but hey man, if you got teachers who ain't putting up with their junk, what you think a guy with a baton, a taser, some of them gloves with the plastic knuckles on them or whatever that material is, I'm sorry, well, you call them what you want to. I don't know. I don't own any. But what you think is going to happen? You put your hand on somebody like that. And they ain't coming by themselves. If you get in that ornery, or if the situation is that bad, backup ain't far away. I remember there was this one guy in one district, and he took a liking to me as an assistant principal. And he said, Renaissance man, I like you. I tell you what, because I didn't live in that town. This is a small town. I don't know if you know anything about small towns, but you better know somebody in the town for your sake, just in case things ever go sideways. And he said, I tell you what, I like you, Mr. Renaissance man. He said, I tell you what, Renaissance man, you ever have a problem? Now, I'm not going to use bad language. I'm not going to use that. I'm not going to tell you exactly what he said. I might actually give his identity away if I do. But he said this. He said, if you ever have a problem, you call me on my cell phone number. And you see me, and you see these two ogres of men back here, these two monsters, these two Legion of Doom, Harlem Heat, Ron Simmons and Butch Reed and Elmer and Hawk looking jokers back here, they coming. And we getting bloody behind you. We like what you're doing for these kids in these schools. And I heard some stories about them guys too. That was a 3-man wrecking crew. Good Lord. But you'd rather me, as much as I can handle myself, you'd rather me deal with them than them jokers, because they ain't having no mercy. It's going to get to the point, whether you like it or not, Ohio's doing it, and Texas is on their way. We're getting to the part where teachers are going to be armed, because if you're not going to allow them to do it, nobody's going to want to teach, and they're going to have to raise them teachers' salaries, because it's going to get so dangerous where nobody's going to want to do the job. Or AI is going to take over, and who knows what the robots might do to your kids. If you have a child out there and you raising them wrong, the society is getting meaner and meaner daily, and you have parts of society who got plans for them. Whether it be the school to prison pipeline, whether it be a straight up tail kicking, whether it be somebody who's a Second Amendment supporter and just wants to make it home, everybody ain't playing with your kids. And everybody ain't gonna want to hear, oh, well, little so-and-so was such a nice young person. They had a little fella just now in Gulfport, Mississippi, shot 5 kids up. Once your kid crosses that line, people looking at them like they're grown, and they're gonna deal with them like they're grown. You better start putting some restraints on your children. If they ain't got their father in their life to discipline them, you better start letting them be with their father. And I'm going to tell you something else. You best appreciate when a teacher's trying to tell them right from wrong, because you ain't going to be able to tell them nothing behind that glass in their jail cell. Or once they're in that coffin, you can talk to their body, but people are not playing no more. It's going to get to the point where only people who love being an educator and can handle their own is going to continue to want to be in the field of education. And you can expect less and less degrees, more and more physical capabilities, less and less mercy. This whole alternative school thing, it ain't working. This whole not expelling kids thing, it ain't working. And something's going to hit the fan. And they got this saying down south, it might be a nationwide thing. Laugh now, cry later. All right, you keep thinking you getting away with just treating people any kind of way and running over people because you think they're small and because you think they're weak or because you think their job is going to stop them from keeping themselves safe against you. I got a question for y'all kids who are doing this kind of stuff, though. You can go in the street and do as much of that stuff as you want to. Why you do it at school? And if you're a parent out there, it's time somebody asks from the field of education, what the hell is wrong with you raising kids like that? What are you doing in your household where the kids going to school to fight? You're already getting a free education. Some people in some places in the world can't get that. And you're abusing it and squandering it by sending your kid to school to fight. But see, we know why you don't want them suspended. You want them to not be at home with you because they tearing your tail up at night because you raised a pure hellraiser and can't nobody control them now until them police get a hold to it. Or her, because they got some female students out there doing these things, and it ain't limited to any gender. It ain't limited to any race either. Parents, y'all better get a hold of them one way or the other. Kids out there, they got this book called the Bible, and it tells you to honor your mother and father so that your days on this planet may be lengthened. So naturally, if you don't respect your elders, your days on this planet will be short.